Well, good morning, and good morning to you all. Thank you so much for taking your time today to hop in on another great and exciting adventure in Monday Mental Real Estate with yours truly, Dr. Michael Freeland. This is not a game, y'all. This is not a joke. We're coming in swinging for the fences every single time. And guess what? We can't miss. What you thought? We can't miss. We're going to keep this thing running, y'all, because we got so many things we got to do, so many things we're in tune with, so many people to connect with that we can't stop now. So before I even get started, let me say good morning. Good morning to all of you. How was your weekend? Did you spend time with somebody that loved you? Did you spend time with somebody that you love? Did you spend time with somebody that loved you back? Did you contribute to somebody's life over the weekend? Did you give them something that was going to help invigorate their life? Because you know what? We're getting ready to empower yours again. And Monday Mental Real Estate is no different. So we come in on Mondays and we get ready and we sit down and get right to it because the business at hand has to be taken care of. So let me get right to it because this is Dr. Michael Freeland and it is Monday Mental Real Estate. And you know what I love about this thing is we get to talk about these things we call the life applications. And the life applications is no different. So let me tell you guys, sit down, buckle up, and get ready because Monday Mental Real Estate is beginning right now. So check it out. As we get through talking about these life applications and get through some of these things, you know what I like to share a lot of times in Monday Mental Real Estate is the things that I've been through in my life. And my life is the application that helps me fuel what I do to understand more about the perspective of thought in my mental real estate. Because you know how I understand me? It's because it helps me to contribute to yours. So today, let me get right into it. I can remember those times, y'all know when we was going to church. Oh my gosh. Y'all remember those times when we was going to church? Oh my gosh. Let me say that one more time. Do y'all remember those times when we was going to church? Oh my gosh. Now, why am I saying this 3 times in a row? Because if you guys came up in any era that I did, now, y'all, I ain't going to tell you my number, my age number, but a lot of y'all know about how old I am. And the fact is, in my generation, we grew up going to church. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm telling you, this is one thing that I used to love. Now, we got a chance to grow up. Now, today's topic is not necessarily about church, but what it is about is one of those members that I knew that was actually in the church. My cousin. Now, this is funny because when we got a chance to grow up, you know, we did a lot of good things in church. We had a lot of fun. Some of us were very serious about it. Some of us were not so serious. Now, when I grew up with my cousin, this individual was she was dynamic. I'm just going to say this. She was dynamic. She was the perfect example of what it would mean to be in church. And not only that, but to grow up in a way, because once we grew up, I can remember my cousin having these kids and she was really good with her kids. Now, what's crazy about it is that we didn't always understand parenting skills growing up because we were the kids. Now, it's funny because we had to interpret things differently. You know how the pastor would speak. He would say his message and you had to figure out what he was saying. A lot of times he was speaking right to you and you didn't know it. He was in your pew. He was on your seat sitting right next to you with his arm around you talking to you, but he was actually on the microphone in the pulpit. Check this out. So what I love about this is that my cousin ended up with her kids. Now, she was very quiet growing up. She didn't say a whole lot. She's very soft-toned, mild-mannered. But, you know, the thing about being mild-mannered is those are the ones they say you got to watch out for. So a lot of times when we would sit there and, you know, she had her kids, and at the time she was married, she had her kids, and we would still be at the church, and I can remember her, you know, acting out, because I can remember her acting out, but her kids were acting out. And I can remember how it was for us. Do y'all remember what it was like when y'all acted out in church, how that happened? A lot of times when that happened, you would either get the death stare. All right, let me show you what my mom would do. She would pull them glasses down and look over them like this. Y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? That was the death stare. Now, you would either get the death stare or you would, back in church, they didn't mind you whooping your kids. You take your kids downstairs, the pastor would hear you getting lashes, and by the time you didn't got so many lashes, church then got continued, and they been upstairs shouting all day, and you been downstairs halfway fighting for your life. Now, here's what's crazy. I can remember my cousin's kids, and they were acting out in service, and then me and my other cousins were sitting by each other, and we was watching, because you know we waiting to see what's happening, right? So we watching, we looking around, all of a sudden, I see my cousin, she says, come here. This is how she did it. Now, usually, there was a pinch, there was a smack on the head, or there was something to let you know I'm about to get you. But my cousin was so smooth. It would get us every single time. She would call her kids and she wouldn't even be like this. She would look over to them and she'd go like this. She'd go, And when she turned that head, that means get your butt over here. So when they came in, guess what they did? They came in and listened to mom, and mom didn't even speak for anybody to hear, so we could never understand. So she would always whisper in their ear. She would tell them to lean in, and when they lean in, she whisper in their ear. And by the time she got done saying what she had to say, man, they was some church mouse. Oh my God, there was some church mice, y'all. And me and my cousin would look and said, man, what did she say to them? What did she say? I was like, I don't know, but they ain't, whatever they was going to do, they ain't going to do it no more. So whatever she said, put the fear of God in them. But here's what I'm saying is, at the moment she was saying those things to her, we was trying to interpret what was being said. We was like, I know she is getting on them right now. They've been cutting up. I know she finna say something. Watch. And she just whispered. And nobody even knew what was said. But when those kids walked away, they was in pecking order. Do you understand me? Now, here it is in today's Monday Mental Real Estate, where we're talking about a few things, because there are things we grew up where we could interpret and things that we could misinterpret. Now, what was it about some things in your life that maybe might have been missed in the interpretation? Now, I'm going to give it to you in my layman's terms, and this is going to probably be a little bit funny, because there's ways that we grew up in African-American homes, in black communities, that we didn't see other places. And you guys can admit to that. Now, here it is, when you remember those times when you got in trouble. Now, the interpretation is this. It's going to be your interpretation, because I want you to get this. Now, when someone said to you, if I have to tell you one more time, what did that mean to you? Now, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you guys. Listen, I'm being transparent, because everything I said to you, I heard. If someone has to say to you, if I got to tell you one more time, why they stop talking? Why they stop talking? What does that interpretation mean to you? Now, let me go to another one, because, oh my God, didn't we have some sayings growing up? And I can remember growing up and hearing my dad say, boy, I'm going to put my foot so far up your behind, you going to wear it as a hat. Now, as a child, that is confusing. As a child, I was sitting there like, what did he just say? And I can't overreact, because he might just do what he said. So what was your interpretation when you heard things like that? Now, hold on. I got to give you another one, because the interpretation is for real, y'all. In our communities, what was said to us was something that stuck to us, but we knew that it meant something. When someone told you, I will slap you until the middle of next week. Now, I'm being transparent. I ain't got time for this, y'all. I'm going to talk straight to you. When someone said to you, I'm going to slap you into the middle of next week. Now, as a kid, that was confusing. Y'all remember those times when we sit there and say, oh my God, I don't understand. But let me tell you what happened to me. Now, I heard all of those things, but let me tell you what happened to me. My auntie, I hope you're watching. My auntie told me specifically, I had just moved here from California as a little boy, and I was at my aunt's house, and I never heard this terminology before. Because when he was growing up military, it was different for us. So at the same time, I was at the house playing with all the kids, and we was all having fun, running around, doing all these things. And my auntie said for me to do something, right? And I didn't understand what she was saying. So what I did is I tuned into her, and I looked at her, and she told me what to do. And all I knew was that, okay, I looked away. But when I looked away, I didn't understand what she was saying, because the next thing she said was, if you roll your eyes at me again, I'm going to knock them out of your head. Now, now, I didn't even understand until I came to Kansas. I did not understand what rolling your eyes really meant. I had no clue. So when she said, if you roll your eyes at me again, I'm going to knock them out of your head, I was actually looking at her when she said that. Now, how in the world, if you don't understand what's being said to you, and how do you interpret that when someone says something to you that you know could get you in trouble, but you don't know how to avoid it? So I didn't know how to avoid it. So while I was looking at her, I was trying to figure out, how can I look away from her without rolling my eyes? Because I had no clue what she was talking about. So what I did was I just kind of turned my head and slowly moved my eyes away. And I took a deep breath and I just walked away. But oh my God, the interpretation. What is it about people that misinterpret your words? When you have been misinterpreted, let me tell you something. This is something. There's something about the power in words. When people speak to you, that you can interpret. Now, I've had people come to me and say, Dr. Freeland, you speak with so much force. You speak with so much intention. You speak, and sometimes I've had people say, when you speak as if, man, you got an attitude. I said, you know what? I'm really passionate about what I say. So I'm very purposeful about what I say. But let me caution you, because I want to help somebody when it comes to how you interpret it. A lot of times I tell people, don't pay attention to how I say it. Listen to what I say. Let me say that again. Don't pay attention to how I say it. Listen to what I'm saying, because if you're hearing what I'm saying to you, there may be things that come across that seem a little bit forceful, but understanding that the interpretation of what you hear. Now, here's the other side of that, because this is mental real estate. The other side of that is it may not be the interpretation of what you hear. It's the way that you hear it. That's funny, because you get to interpret what you hear, but a lot of times it's what? Based off of the delivery. It's based off of what you hear and how you hear it. So the question today is this: why do people misinterpret your words? Have you ever been misinterpreted? Has somebody misunderstood something you said and you have to stop and say, you know what, man, listen, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted to help you understand something. Or a lot of times in speaking, we speak with conviction and understanding what we're saying to somebody else. So we need them to get the message. So the only way they can get the message is by what? Delivering. But a lot of times within the delivery, we don't get that when we speak to other people, we're speaking with the passion and purpose or what we're intending, but they may misinterpret what you're saying as if you're attacking them. Uh-oh. We may go there today. Stay right here. Because what I said was, the question is, why do people misinterpret your words? People misinterpret words for a variety of reasons, often stemming from individual differences in understanding, communication styles, and biases. These factors can lead to misunderstandings even when the speaker intends to be clear. Are you listening? Because I want to help somebody today when we're talking about this misinterpretation, because you know that happens a lot and we get attitudes because of the misinterpretation of what's being said. Now, let me give you some more details. The individual difference, the different interpretations of language. Words can have different meanings to different people, especially when considering regional dialects, slangs, or jargons. Lack of shared context. If the speaker or listener don't share the same background, If they don't share the same background, If they don't share the same background, knowledge, or experience, it can be difficult to understand the intended meaning. Now, I'm coming down your street, so listen up here. Cognitive biases. People often interpret information in a way that confirms their existing beliefs and expectations, leading to misinterpretations according to Psychology Today. Come on now. I'm not done yet. Emotional state. A listener's emotional state. Woo! Isn't it something how we interpret things based on how we feel at that moment? Isn't it something how when we start gravitating to the things that we're trying to understand, but we're not in the right mood to receive it? You know why those people say sometimes, you know what, not right now. Give me a minute. I just need to cool off, or I need to unfold. I need to unwind. Coming in the door from work after a long day is not going to be the same conversation that you have at 8 o'clock in the evening after you've rested. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here's what I'm saying. The emotional state. A listener's emotional state can significantly impact how they perceive and interpret information. Now, communication style. This is the be careful section. Lack of clarity. Speakers may not be clear in their communication, using ambiguous language or failing to provide sufficient context. Defensiveness. Individuals who are defensive may interpret statements at, I don't even know if I want to read this. Let me say this again. Individuals who are defensive may interpret statements as personal attacks, even if they are not intended that way. How many times have you been in that position by saying something to someone and they seem as if you have personally attacked them, but all you're doing is relaying information to help them understand the concept of where they may be? They may not understand. Next one. I told you guys this is the cautious section. Defensiveness. Even if they're not intended that way, but jumping to conclusions, some people quickly form opinions based on limited information lead to interpretation, to misinterpretations. Now, inattentive listening, not fully listening to what someone is saying can lead to misunderstandings. Now, I have to laugh at that one because I know there are many times growing up when someone has talked to me and I was tuned out. I was looking at them, but I wasn't listening. Did you hear what I said? I was looking, but I wasn't listening. And a lot of times, and you know what? I didn't realize it until I seen it in my own children. You know what I'm talking about when you're talking to them and you say, now, did you hear what I said? And they go, uh-huh. Now, here's the catch. I say, repeat what I said. Did you hear what I said? Repeat what I said. Because a lot of times we want to understand that what people are getting is the information that they need. We're not asking them to interpret it in their language when we're meaning it intentionally for them to get the point. So check this out. Intentional misinterpretations. Danger zone. Danger zone. Manipulation. In some cases, people may intentionally misinterpret words to manipulate a situation or avoid difficult conversations. I gotta read that one again. In some cases, people may intentionally misinterpret words to manipulate a situation or avoid difficult conversations. Now, what in the world does that mean? You know those people I'm talking about. I put my hand up because I know I've been guilty on many occasions of trying to just deflect from a conversation. Why? Because a lot of times it's a conversation you don't want to hear or a conversation you believe you may already have the answer to. And you know what happens when people believe they got the answer? They don't need your opinion. So come on now. We're going to keep this thing going. Ego protection. I'm coming down your street. Ego protection. Individuals may misinterpret information to protect their self-esteem or avoid admitting they don't understand. Let me say that again. Individuals may misinterpret information to protect their self-esteem. You can't tear me down. Who do you think you are? Or avoid admitting they don't understand. You remember that kid in the classroom that would rather get kicked out of math class than to admit to his teacher he doesn't understand the problem. He would rather act out and get himself in trouble and get dismissed from class rather than to raise his hand and say, you know, Miss So-and-so, I don't know anything about this. I know I've been in class, but this is not anything I can understand. Can you give me something better? Isn't it something how just asking the question could change your direction of your understanding? Now, other factors. Cultural differences. Cultural norms can influence how people communicate and interpret messages. Personal traits. Certain personality traits like being overly critical or judgmental can contribute to misinterpretations. My goodness. I got to give it to you again because this is called personal traits because at some point a lot of us have experienced these personal traits. And these personal traits say certain personality traits like being overly critical or judgmental can contribute to misinterpretations. Wow. In essence, misinterpretations are a common part of human interaction. It absolutely is. And understanding the potential causes can help individuals communicate more effectively and minimize misunderstandings. Now, let me say that again because you know what's good is that we've all misinterpreted things at times. Life has dealt us different hands that we don't always understand. But listen, we a lot of times believe we know the answer because we have our own personal experiences. Now, your personal experiences don't dismiss your knowledge. It doesn't dismiss whether you're right or wrong. But the mental real estate concept is understanding the positive and negative contributors to your mindset. So that means there's got to be another point to this. There's got to be another angle to this. There's got to be a different meaning to this. So when we're talking about the interpretations, this is why a lot of times we run into brick walls in communication with others, because when we communicate, we come from another perspective. And when you speak from another perspective that people don't understand, they're going to gravitate first. They're going to gravitate first thing to what they know. To what they know. But let me tell you, because a lot of times in my delivery, and even now when I speak, you guys hear me with the elevated tone. You hear me speaking with all of this passion and all this purpose. But let me give it to you, because everybody don't talk the same. Everybody doesn't know how to bring it back down. And everybody doesn't really know how to communicate. But does it mean that their intention by what they say is misinterpreted based off of what they say, how they say it, and who they say it to? Absolutely. There's a lot of people that will judge you based off of how you come across. You have no idea how many conversations, you could probably guess how many conversations I've had with people that during those conversations, they said, you know, why do you sound like you're so upset? How come when you're talking to me, it seems like you're yelling at me? And I'm like, man, you know, I have to think about that, because the reality is I'm not speaking from a point of trying to hurt somebody. I'm not speaking from trying to defeat someone. I'm speaking from a point of growth, understanding, and helping people to lead themselves into a better position. But let me give this to you, because when it comes to misinterpretations and how you interpret things, let me give it to you straight. There's a difference. Let me say that again. There's a difference. One more time. There is a clear difference between passion, purpose, and persuasion. Let me say that again. There is a difference between passion, purpose, and persuasion. Some people can talk to you in ways that will make you know that they're passionate. Some people will speak to you in ways that help you know that they're speaking with a purpose. They know where they're coming from. But there are others that will speak to you with persuasion, because I need you to get it. I need you to understand. Now, it's not for me to drill it home when I'm speaking to you about what I'm saying, because it's not what I say. It's not how I say it. It's the interpretation that you get from what I said. That's why a lot of times when we speak to people, we speak from an area of our life that we understand, that we know. But the thing is, they come from different directions, different avenues, different upbringings. And when you speak about your plan, your purpose, when you speak about the things that matter to you, we wonder why a lot of times people don't get it, because they wasn't raised with you. They wasn't taught with you. They didn't eat with you. They didn't sit with you. They didn't have the same upbringing as you. They didn't understand the same concept. When I was telling you before, my grandmother would tell you, boy, I'll slap you into the middle of next week. When she said something like that, as a member of that household and that family, yeah, it got your attention. But guess what else it did? It helped you understand from somebody who did not understand. But it helped you understand in that household when grandma said, boy, I will slap you into the middle of next week. That means you better get your act together and right now, or you are in serious trouble, and there is no games played, zero tolerance. But for somebody who wasn't raised in your household, for somebody that wasn't raised in your household and they hear something like that, they gonna run to the police, y'all. Are you hearing me? They gonna run to the police. Listen, but now I gotta give you the killer. Good morning, Mom, I see you. I gotta give you the killer, because there's a lot of things said when I talk about the interpretation, how we got the things that was said to us when we were kids, when we were growing up, the things we say to our kids and our grandkids, because they have to interpret what you're saying. So what we say in our delivery helps get the message across. Now, the good thing is this, is that a lot of times, a lot of you grew up not having to say anything to your kids. Why? Because they had the interpretation before you even had to open your mouth. Why? Because they went through the trial and error. They went through the discipline. They knew what was being said. And what they say, if I ever have to tell you again, let me have to tell you one more time. Isn't that something? Because back then, they didn't even finish the sentence. They did not even finish the sentence. Now, why didn't they finish the sentence? Because you knew. You knew the interpretation. You knew what had to be done. But there's a lot of people out here that don't understand the interpretation of what we say or how we say it. Now, this isn't just coming from a black household. This isn't coming from the African American community. I'm talking about people as a whole. Because let me tell you something. In case you're on this feed and you don't understand, as an African American, male or female, it does not matter. We have to. Listen to me. We have grown to understand the concept that we have to have more than one face. Because we have the face of home, we have the face of family, we have the face of communication, we have the face of business, we have the face of commonality, we have the face of religion. We wear faces. Every one of them we mean. But listen, we know that we can't talk at home the way we gonna go to our office and speak to people, because they won't interpret what we're saying. We know that we gonna talk to our kids in a certain way. Now, it used to be you can talk to anybody, kids, that way, and they will get it, but not anymore. If you speak to somebody else's kids the way you talk to yours, some people may find it offensive. But listen again, as I said before, there's a difference between passion, purpose, and persuasion. Because when you get those three concepts, you're going to know how it helps you to communicate with people. Because Monday Mental Real Estate is very, very real. Because I'm telling you now, I've been saving this one, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, I've been saving this one. I'm about to tell y'all now. I know I ain't the only person in this feed, but as you sit here right now and you understand what it was like to be a child in trouble, a child who had to deal with grandma, mom, dad, grandpa, aunt, uncle, others, if you had to deal with somebody in moments you had trouble, the things they would say to you, if you could just bust out laughing, they'd slap you in the mouth because you knew you would be out of order. But man, some of the stuff they said was so funny, but you couldn't laugh because you knew you was already in trouble. It was going to get worse. But the thing, let me tell you something. My daddy said to me, now everybody got a father, but if anybody's ever heard this, I already know. That one to say, I brought you in this world, come on now. Just put it in the feed. Somebody, I brought you in this world, finish it in the feed. I'm going to give you a second. And then I'm going to tell you myself because you already should know if I brought you in this world, what they going to tell you after that when you in trouble. You already know. If I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. Let me go and put this in the feed so everybody knows because it don't matter what country you're in. If this is something that is relative to life and how we grew up. When my father would say to me, boy, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out. I looked at him. First of all, I was like, who are you? You know, but I couldn't say that because you already know what happened. I probably catch about 2 backhands, a couple knuckle sandwiches, and then I probably wake up and try to figure out where I'm at. Y'all remember those days, right? Now, you said it, Yolanda, and I'll take you out. Don't play with me. Now, here it is. This is maybe the one thing nobody really ever heard. Now, you might have heard this, but they don't say it often. Right, I'll take you out. That's come on, Ebony. But here's the thing. It says, I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out. Now, here's the killer. Here's the killer, guys. And he looked dead at me in the face, dead serious. He said, and I'll make another one look just like you. Wait a minute. How do you interpret that? When he looked you in your eyes and said, boy, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out and I'll make another one look just like you. I can't. I'm weak. I gotta get on subject. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. That's right. But you know what's crazy? As funny as all those things were, as funny as they were back then, let me tell you something. You couldn't believe that they did not mean what they said. Because they spoke with such passion, purpose, and persuasion at the same time to help you understand that what is being said is for your own good. A lot of times you would yell at your kid before they get to the street because you taught them not to run into the street. So when you see them going, how many of y'all know this? You have to yell their name, stop. And when they hear you say stop, they know your sound. They know your voice. They know the power of the passion, purpose, and persuasion. They understand that when I move, I have to move with understanding. When I hear a certain tone coming into my ear, whatever I'm doing, and I know it may be wrong, it might freeze me in my tracks. But how many times have you seen these parents today, and I ain't just talking about today, in general, when their kids is running in the street and their parents is trying to run behind them, can barely catch them, and their kids is running to end their life and they have no idea. The power, passion, and persuasion of your words can save somebody's life. So when I tell you today that Monday Mental Real Estate is doing something that's helping people understand the interpretation of what they hear, interpret these things. Now, I know we said a lot of funny things. There's a lot of good things to laugh at. But the truthfulness of what I'm speaking about is the interpretation of your life. How do you want to be interpreted? How do you want people to interpret you? But do I tell you to dare dumb down your words? Don't you dare dumb down your words. If you got something to say, you say it. Because it's not what you're saying, how you say it, it's in how they interpret your words. Because your words still, it doesn't take the life out of the lesson. It doesn't take the life out of the lesson because you teach it. When you give somebody something from the bosom, when you speak from the internal man, when you talk to somebody that you know you're giving them life, you have no option but to say it. And when you speak from the point of purpose, passion, and persuasion, all three things together, you're going to know that you're getting through to people. Because the only way a lot of times we can get people to know how to stop in the midst of their damage, in the midst of their hurt, in the midst of their shame. The only way we can get people to stop is you got to speak with a tone that they can not only hear, that they can recognize. And when they hear that certain tone, they know it's time to pay attention. Because if they don't pay attention, they can be certainly heading towards destruction. This is what I'm talking about, the interpretation today for your Monday Mental Real Estate. So, hey, I'm Dr. Michael Freeland. Once again, we did it. Man, we said a lot. Didn't we say a mouthful? But I wanted to make sure that people understand the interpretation and why people misinterpret what you say sometimes. But it's a good thing to know, because now that we know, we can grow. Let's keep this thing going, y'all, as we keep moving on into another week. This is your Monday Mental Real Estate with Dr. Michael Freeland. We did it again. I'm so proud and pleased of all of you that are showing up and understanding the perspective of your mind is the positive and negative contributors to your mindset. And what does it mean for you? Absolutely everything. And we're not going to stop there. So let's keep this thing going. Let me send some shouts out and I'm going to get on out of here. Yolanda Shaheed, as always, I see you, the big fan of Mental Real Estate. Thank you so much for being in here. Ebony Saunders is my assistant right here in the U.S., y'all. We doing big things, continuing to move forward. Thank you so much for being in here, Ebony. She hardly ever says anything, y'all, but don't mistake her effectiveness for her silence. She's really good. Thank you so much, Eb, for being in here. Appreciate you. Miss Shalina Brown, as always, thank you so much for being in here. My mom, one of my mothers, Pam Berry. Mom, how are you? Always love. Always hugs and kisses. I love you. Thank you for helping me along this journey, because, man, where would I be without the influence of Miss Mom Pam Berry? God bless you so much, mother. I see you. Thank you so much for being in here. D Cap, my brother, what's going on? I see you in here. D, this is one of the guys, man, I grew up around. We had an opportunity to work together, do great things. He's really helped mentor my children. Good man. D Kemp, thank you so much for being in here. I appreciate you. My brother, Antoine Matu, what's going on, PA? What's happening, bro? Big bro, y'all. That's my big brother. And I mean, yeah, I'm the littlest one in the family, y'all. I got all the leftovers. He's a big brother because he's a bigger guy and all that stuff. But what's up, big bro? I appreciate you. So let's keep this thing going. And last but not least, if I missed anyone, charge it to the head and not the heart. I don't miss anybody intentionally. I just scroll through comments and I'll shout you out. Mom, last but not least, my mother, Brenda Redmond. Mama, I love you. Thank you so much for being in here. Thank you, Mama, for being my life's blood, for helping me to do what I do, because without you, there is no me. God bless you, Mama. Have a great day. And all of you have a great day and a safe week. And I can't wait for us to connect again. It's Monday Mental Real Estate, y'all. We're keeping it going. Tune in next week, because, man, these lessons don't stop. God bless you all. Take care. Have yourself a good one. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.